start the new math chapter, quadratic equations. So, what is the quadratic equation? What is the quadratic equation? So, studied about polynomials, right? Last chapter was on polynomials, correct? Right? In polynomials, we saw different type of polynomials. Okay, so we saw a linear polynomial. Correct. Right? So what is a linear polynomial? A polynomial whose degree is 1. Correct. Right? We studied about a cubic polynomial. What is a cubic polynomial? A polynomial whose degree is 3. Similarly, we studied about the quadratic polynomial. So what is a quadratic polynomial? A polynomial whose degree is 2. So what do you mean by degree of a polynomial? What do you mean by degree of a polynomial? It is the highest power of the variation. For example, if I have y square plus y plus 3, okay, y is a variable. So y has some powers. Here the power is 1. Here the power is 2. But what is the highest power? 2. So that means the degree of the polynomial is the degree of the polynomial is 2. Okay, so this is a quadratic polynomial. You have x square plus 4x plus 9. Here what is the highest power of the polynomial? 2. Correct, right? So here x is 1, here x square. Highest power is 2. So the highest power, that means that the degree is 2. Such a polynomial is called as a quadratic polynomial. Now what is a quadratic equation? You take any quadratic polynomial. Okay, you take any quadratic polynomial, okay, equate it to something, right? Equal to something. This becomes a quadratic equation. So what is a quadratic equation? It's a quadratic polynomial equated to some term. If I write quadratic polynomial is equal to something, that becomes a quadratic equation. Is that okay? So what is the general form of a quadratic polynomial? How do you denote a quadratic polynomial? General form of quadratic polynomial. It is ax square plus bx plus c, where what is the condition? A not equal to 0. Correct. This is the general form of a quadratic polynomial. What will be the general form of a quadratic equation then? What is the general form of a quadratic equation? Write equal to 0. That's it. This is the general form of a quadratic equation. Okay. See, you have to be very careful. In exams they will ask, what is the general form of a quadratic polynomial? If they ask you what is the general form of a quadratic polynomial, you should just write this. That is ax square plus bx plus c, where a not equal to 0. If they ask you what is the general form of a quadratic equation, then write equal to 0. Equal to 1. Then write equal to 0. So, in this, first thing what we have to study is, you don't have to write all this. First thing, checking. So, checking whether something is a quadratic equation or not. So, they will give you an equation, you have to tell yes or no. They ask, is this a quadratic equation? Your answer should be yes or no. Yes, it is a quadratic equation. No, it is not a quadratic equation. That is the first part, very simple. Second thing, solve. Okay, how to solve a quadratic equation? There are different methods to solve. There are 3 methods to be, in particular there are 3 methods. First method is factorization method. Okay, second method is using quadratic formula. The third method is by using completing the square. So there are 3 methods to solve a quadratic equation. All 3 methods we have to learn. This we have already learned. In polynomials, I have taught you quadratic, I have taught you factorization method, p and q, take the middle term as p plus q, other two terms as p into q. We have already learned it's the same thing. This is by using quadratic formula, and this is by completing the square. These two I'll teach, because this we have already learned. We'll do it once again, okay? But we quickly do it, 1 or 2 problems, and then finish it off. These we can. In this, I think for CBSE this is deleted. I'm not sure. Last year batch it was deleted. Just check with your teacher whether it's deleted or not. But for state, all 3 are there, and you have to study all 3, and all 3 are equally important. Before, a couple of years back, we were ignoring this. Ignoring in the sense I was teaching this, but students were like, okay, it was never asked, but they did not study. But last year this has been asked. Complete interest rate. Okay. Even in last year's what is that? Model paper, this is there. Even in final exam, I think one of the questions was asked. Complete interest rate. So we cannot ignore this. It's an easy thing. It's not difficult. I'll teach you the steps, and you can easily do it. Okay. So you have to study how to solve, and in this you have statement type problems also. Statement type. Okay. So after that, one last thing is nature of rules. So this chapter can be divided into 3 parts. First part is just checking whether it's a quadratic equation or not. Second part is solving, how to solve those quadratic equations. 3 methods. All 3 I'll teach. Don't worry. Last one is checking the nature of rules. I'll tell what it is.